There's just something about a really good bass fill. Let's take a look at some good bass fills, talk about why they're good, and how you can start adding some good fills into your own bass playing. Hi, I'm John Liebman, and welcome to another edition of The Essence of Groove. You ever notice there's, in most every song, in between phrases, a lot of times there's just kind of a lull. Nothing is really happening, and everybody's just kind of hanging on a note or on a chord, and it feels like it just needs something to get from one phrase to the next. Well, in those instances, it's very often desirable, or appropriate at least, to add a bass fill, something to keep the music moving along, something to help the song and keep everything feeling right. I'm going to play some fills for you that I think are pretty good. We're going to talk about what's good about them, why they work, and give you some inspiration for coming up with some bass fills of your own. Let's start with the song She's Not There by the Zombies back in the 60s. You remember that song? Well, no one told me about her. That was Chris White who was on that record, in case you're wondering. Now there's a part pretty close to the beginning of the song where everything is kind of building, and then everybody stops except the bass player, who goes all by himself like this. And then he gets right back into... So it's a fun thing. It's putting the bass in the spotlight for, what was that, a half a second? Maybe a whole second? It's in the spirit of the song. It feels good, it sounds good, it feels right, and then, like I said, getting right back to taking care of business. Let's take a look at another example. Something by the Beatles. Okay, George singing away. Don't want to leave her now. So Paul could have gone, you know I believe in how. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. But instead, Paul McCartney, who has got that magical, uncanny ability of knowing exactly what a song needs and how to deliver it, instead went, Is it busy? Yeah. Does it get in the way? No. Does it help the song? Oh yeah. Paul. Love Paul. Here's another one that's, I think, a little unusual. Carole King. So far away, doesn't anybody... First time I heard that fill, I went, whoa, where did that come from? Just out of nowhere. The song, like I was describing before, it was just kind of hanging. Even the melody was just one note. They're sitting on one chord. Charles Larkey is the bass player. He was married to Carole at the time. Nobody knows what happened to him. He just kind of disappeared. Some people say he went in another direction, non-musical direction. But I've always loved that fill because it was so unexpected and it's so busy, but it works. It doesn't get in the way. It helps the song. It feels good and it sounds right. Okay, Led Zeppelin. Good Times, Bad Times. John Paul Jones. I forget exactly what he played leading up to the fill. It was something like... Here it comes. I've always loved that fill. John Paul Jones, not only a great rock bass player, but he must have listened to a whole lot of R&B, maybe a lot of Motown, probably a lot of James Jamerson. I mean, the Lemon song alone is proof enough for me that he did that. Love that bass line, love that fill. Here's another one that you know, Chicago, Beginnings, Peter Cetera on bass. Although I have a feeling Jason Sheff probably played this line a lot more than he did. But you know the line where it goes. Okay, just a little kind of diversion, a little interlude in the middle of the song. Puts the bass in the spotlight for a minute. Is it busy? Not really. Does it help the song? Yeah, if you play it with the right kind of guts and passion and feeling. And like in the other examples, right after that, he got right back down to taking care of business, playing the bass for the song, playing the bass line. Another very cool fill. Here's an interesting one, a fun one, Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder. Nathan Watts on the bass. Now, I presume Nate was just asked to play something like over, you can feel it. And he did play that the first few times. And then toward the end of the song, when things are building and everything's getting exciting, and Nate was getting excited, I guess, he went. And by the way, yes, I can play the crazy part. I have that in another video, but it's not relevant to what we're talking about now. But yes, I can play it. Anyway, I did ask Nate one time, I said, how did you come up with that? And he says, I don't know, I just felt it. Now, I saw Nate Watts giving a clinic one time, and he said, no, always play what you're asked to play. Play what is expected of you, but whenever you can, sign it. He says, I like to sign it. So if it's appropriate, that's exactly what he did here. He signed it. And that really stuck with me. I like that. But again, with the caveat of, does it help the song? Does it make it sound better? Does the song need it? Let's do one more. Just your basic blues shuffle. Okay, kind of cliche, kind of generic, but I love it. I do it all the time when it's appropriate. It really works, and it keeps things moving along. It's in the spirit of the feeling of the groove, and it works. Blues shuffle. There's a quote that I've always liked. It goes, don't talk unless you can improve the silence. I've always liked that a lot. Let's apply that kind of thinking to what we're talking about here. Does the song need it? Does it help the song? Does it make the song sound better? Is it good to play in the song? If it is, go ahead and play it. If not, you've got to be sensitive enough to know when to play a fill and when not to play a fill. So I cannot overemphasize that. Try it. Take some inspiration from these fills that I played. These are some really cool fills, and just a handful here. There are so many others. Start listening for that kind of thing in other music, in other songs, and see what you can do to incorporate those into your bass playing. Remember, do they help the song? Do they sound good? Are they in the right spirit? All those things that we're talking about here. And let me know. Share your experience. I'd really love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. I've got all kinds of tips and advice for learning bass, so be sure to subscribe to this channel. I will see you back here, same time, same place, next week for another edition of The Essence of Groove. In the meantime, I'm John Liebman. Let's play bass.